Just a couple minutes here. We'll get everything going. Okay. I'm getting everything turned on, and I will be with you shortly. Here we are. Hope you guys are all in here. Okay. I know I'm the only one in here at the moment. Bear with me. We'll be getting a few people in here, and then we'll get started. You all have been having a good day, and ready for something a little bit different. Something totally unannounced. I wasn't expecting it. You weren't expecting it. So we'll experience this together. As you can see, got an interesting piece of wood on here. And it usually takes a few minutes for people to get on board here, so we'll see. Hey, Johnny. Thanks for dropping in. I was looking at your stuff the other night. Hi, Ramek. So we got something a little bit different going on today. Hi, Liv. We got 30 people in here already. Okay, great. Well, I guess I should start talking then. I was going to hold off for a couple minutes, but it sounds like we got some people in here, so we'll start with this. So I was out with some of my wood turners yesterday, and we picked up some wood called cork oak. And this is cork oak. As you can see, it's got a very thick cork type. I'll get this a little closer. A cork type bark. This is a limb here. The bigger pieces, I may be able to go out and show you later. Some of the pieces were probably 20 inches around or more, 20 inches across, I should say, or more. This is some of the smaller stuff, but it was green. This is still very green. I just got this on the chainsaw today and cut it up into smaller pieces. And I thought I would give this a try, cutting into the grain instead of around it, and seeing if I can't make some sort of a dish out of this. Now, I'm sure that I'm not 100% in the middle, but I'm as close as I can be because this is kind of an oval. And we're going to try and get as close to the outer edge as we can here all the way around without losing the bark. We're going to keep the bark on. I may trim a tiny bit of the bark off the back just to make sure that it's all nice and even. There's a little bit of chunk up here that's a little high. So I might just cut it off the back here a little bit. I'm not going to take it off per se. And cork is growing, of course, so that they can put in a little cutter. It's a little round cutter. They put in, twist it, take it out, and you got corks for your bottles. That's what they grow it for. Well, around here, a couple hundred years ago, we had a lot of Portuguese settlers, and they thought this would be a really important thing to have since they were also growing figs and grapes and other things. And so we ended up with some cork oak around here that's probably in the neighborhood of 200 years old. And so that's what we got here today. So I'm going to mount this up just for a minute, just with a little base here, just to make sure that I've got some good support. Don't need a lot of extra support, but just a little bit, just to kind of mark it. All right, and I've got this on with a glue backing on it. I used the hot glue on a flat piece, so it's no screws in here or anything. It's being held on by hot glue. So we are taking a little bit of a chance there too. And let's see what becomes of this, okay? We'll do a little experiment together here. Make sure I can clear. Okay, we're clear. Okay. Gonna spin this up. Not a lot. Don't want to take anything off accidentally. I just wanted to graze this bottom just a very little bit. Okay. Again, we don't want to have anything grabbing. I think it's going to cause stress on that glue. There, just wanted to smooth that edge up a little bit. And I can go back and do that with some sanding later too. As I said, this is oval a little bit, so we're going to have a little bit of a challenge here. I want to see if I can. I've never done this with cork oak. I've done this with other woods before, but never with cork oak. And so I thought it would be kind of interesting for you and for me both. See what it looked like. There we go. It's really what throws you off is you can see the center of where the pith is, and this little center here, and it kind of throws you off a little bit as to what you're looking at when you're looking at the true center until we get turning on it. When you start turning, it'll be easier to see. And make sure I'm not hitting anything. You're going to turn up the speed a little bit. Now I want to find out where the outer edge is here, and how far away I'm at it. So I want to get as close to the bark as I can without actually getting into the bark. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm going to have to use a pencil here to mark it, but I just wanted to see about where I was before I started marking things. So this is probably the outer limit. I'm going to use that as my starting point, and then we probably can go back and maybe adjust from there later. And we also may need to come out here and kind of round this or straighten out this spot, because it's got a little bit of a high spot here. Maybe I can fix that. Yeah, it's a little bit high on this side, so maybe I can cut across that here very gingerly. Take out that high spot. Really hard right there. Again, we want to be really careful not to hit and break off the bark as we're doing this. Okay. Gonna come out here a little bit more. All right. Pick up the speed just a little bit. Just didn't want to get too aggressive until I knew how the wood would handle being aggressive in my cutting. So, I'm going to turn it so you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing here on this side. I'm getting darn close to being flat. Just a little bit more. If I look across this right now, I'm already pretty flat. Yeah, just like when you're going into the bottom of a bowl, you kind of do the same thing. And that sounds like where I can start doing my bowl now. And start going from there down. Double check my glue, make sure it's holding on tight. Good. Okay. I think I'm going to give this just a little bit of a sharpening. Just because it's really going to need it on this particular cut. Bear with me here a second while I sharpen this blade up. Or gouge, I should say. What we got in here today? Hi, Danik. Hi, Ramek. Hi, David. Mickey. Yeah, it's cork oak. Good morning to all of you, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever parts of the world you're from. I would imagine quite a few of you might be from overseas. I'm just going to give this a really quick touch up on the gouge. Because when you're cutting green wood, you want to have nice, sharp cuts to get them to lay down properly. And there. That looks pretty good. Okay. Just takes a couple strokes either way. So, everything's in place. Ooh. There. Looks like we're in the spaghetti business, or the noodle business. And already it's nice and wet and fresh again. This is really, really wet wood. In fact, my chainsaw, I had to take it all apart and clean it afterwards because it was really, really gunked up. So, all right. Well, it handles that speed. Let's see if we can take a little bit more speed. Whoa. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down. Kind of got away from this there. This tends to get kind of pent up speed, or build up speed as it goes. When you slow it down a bit by taking too big of a cut, it tends to build up potential speed. There we are. Nice rhythms, huh? You like those ribbons. Well, now I look like a Christmas tree or something here. I'm all flocked out. Like I've been in the snow. Okay, now we can start. Whoa! Careful, 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 careful. I'll make sure I don't miss that. Okay. I want to be very careful to get in here. Establish that edge. And start creating that curve for the plate. This is going to be a very shallow dish. Probably no more than about 1.5 inches deep. With a natural bark edge. what we're shooting for. And it's not something you want to do all the time. Many woods won't let you do this. As you can see, this is really nice turning at this point. Clean this up just a hair. I won't be able to move. There we go. You want to establish that edge for the bowl. Interestingly, it slows the speed down a little bit more when I'm going into the wood than when I'm coming out of the wood. When I'm coming this direction here, pulling towards me, it actually puts less stress on the motor, and I seem to have a higher speed ratio. Let's see how it's starting to look. And one of the things that you like about cork oak, besides the cork, of course, is that it radiates. See all these these radiating lines? These radiating lines will really show, the wood much better. How do I say this? It really shows up as you're going out, so it's going to look like a sunrise almost, radiating out from the center. Okay, guys. Hello, hello, hello. So, who else have we got in here? Davey and Angela and Marcy and Kim. Oh, Cherry, just Cherry. Hi, Sherry. Good to see Sherry in here. Good old friend of the family. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to try something just because I can. This is an experiment in the first place. What does it look like when you're using a scraper? This piece is so wet it almost feels like water sprinkling on my hands as it's going through it. Interesting. Just wanted to see what that would do. Now, I just want to see where we are. See how like I said, it's an oval, so it's going to be a little bit odd shaped. But I don't think I can go any closer on this side because I'm getting out of the wood and into the bark at that point. So I'm going to have to keep it there. And it's just going to look odd. That's all it's going to do. It does look cool seeing all that. Whoa! And there it came off the glue. Well, that's what happens. Well, I just want to do that as an experiment, and I will get back on the glue, but you're going to have to allow me probably to do the gluing. Well, let's see. I'm going to have to probably do the gluing at another time. But I'd say the experiment part is a success. I think we can do this. And I kind of look forward to doing that. The glue just, as you can see, the glue kind of just didn't hold really well. And none of it stuck on here because it's such wet wood. I think I might have to let this dry off just a little bit more so that I can dry it and the moisture doesn't affect it. So I may have to wait a day or two, then glue it back on and finish it up again. Fortunately, I've got a hole here, a little mark with a little screw, so I know exactly where to put this. So it'll be right in the right place. But this is what happens sometimes because what you're doing is you're putting pressure on this, and it turns this way and cracks off. It's not from the pull of the glue this way; it's the twisting of it, and that's what happens. So, hey, it happens, and we got other things we can go on to do. So, not a big deal. Hey, that looks familiar. Yeah, LJ. Yeah, doesn't it? Thanks, LJ. Well, but you understand. You can agree with me, right, LJ? I think letting the wood dry for a couple days because it is a fresh cut. I mean, I just did this cut. Well, the wood was cut down about 4 days ago, I think. I did this cut this morning off of it, so it's only had maybe 4 hours since it was cut. So we'll let that dry off just a little bit. I may use my heat gun, and we will work on that a little bit more. But I think what my wife wanted, she wanted a couple bowls that were made out of that wood like that. Now, I cut another piece like this. I think this is going to be a challenge because that's all cork. So I'm thinking I'll have to if I turn this the way it is, just make a small dish or a small bowl out of it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep the wings on that or not. But that's going to be one of the projects. But the other day, we were working on this when I had to stop. So I figured we can go and continue on this piece. And this was a piece that was giving me a little bit of trouble. I think I'm going to have to vacuum here first just to get some of this up. That was giving me a little bit of trouble, but we got it sanded down and it smoothed on. We let the tug oil stay on it for a couple of days. So it's got a chance to suck in and dry a little. Boy, I got a lot of these ribbons everywhere. In fact, If you could, guys, if you'd hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. That would be it. Helps the channel. Hit the like button or subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. We do a lot of crazy things, and while you're at it, check out LJ's channel. He does some really nice turnings. In fact, he had a good one up just the other day that I was looking at. So check out LJ. In fact, there's a lot of the guys in my description on this channel. If you check out the description, there's several of the people that I work with on a regular basis. All good turners. They all have good channels. Not sure Hall's in here right now, but because this was kind of an unannounced session. But here. Okay. In fact, I'm going to, just before we go on to this other piece, I'm going to take you with me. And if we can hold the signal and not lose the signal here, we'll try this. We're going to go for a little bit of a travel here. So here. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. And I'm going to take you out here and show you what I cut up earlier today, just so you can see it. There's some of the cork oak, and these are a couple of the bigger pieces. And see, that was only half of it, so across the whole thing, that's a good 20 plus inch piece of tree trunk there. But so I cut these up into different sizes and shapes, and they should make some interesting bowls as we go forward. So just thought I'd kind of show you. There's that, and some more wood I have ready to go. That's from about a year ago. That's some cork oak and some others. So we got quite a few more things to turn, and we'll be doing that for quite a while here still. But there, we'll get back inside here and get back hooked up, and we'll get going back on the turning. Just wanted to kind of show you that. Okay. You guys should be able to hear me okay. I'm hoping. Can you hear me okay, guys? Let me know. Oh, thank you, Cherry. Okay. Buy a new vacuum. Why do I need to buy a new vacuum? Actually, the vacuum that I use in the shop here is actually really nice, quiet one. Well, it's not quiet itself. It's basically a Harbor Freight, or not a Harbor Freight, I should say. I'm sorry, the Home Depot special. You know, about $100. But what I've done is I've built a chamber for it with a box in the back of it that actually cuts the sound waves down so that it reduces the decibel count without interfering with the there we go, without interfering with the vacuum volume. So it reduces the decibels about 30 decibels. It's very actually kind of a conversation level at about 60 decibels, 63 I think, last I checked. Whereas your shop vacuum, is about 90 decibels, give or take. Uh-oh. That's going to be interesting. Let's see what we can do there. Stainless steel, and it snapped. Stainless steel screw. That's interesting. It's right there. This one. Never had one of those snap on me. That must have had a really good fix on that piece of wood. Well, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So let's see what we do with that. Well, the best thing you can probably do, and it's not the best thing, but it's the thing you usually have to do. You have to kind of drill a hole adjacent to it, so that you can kind of pick it out. One side. And the other. Try and see if you can get down in there. That's one of those. Okay, good. Wanted to see how deep this one might be. You know, I'm just going to turn this until I find it. Quite honestly, I think I'll just turn it until I find it, and I'll deal with it from there. Any words of encouragement there, LJ? Hi, Nico, Faisal, and Lasine, Amir, all sorts of people on there. And I know quite a few of you are probably not actually watching, but I'll humor myself to think that you are. Because it feels better to know that there's people watching you. Yeah. Let me see if that's turning good. Yep, it is. Okay. All right. Well, we'll tighten this down and press our luck until we get to that spot and we go, oh darn, there's the screw. Because it is going to come up at some point. No pun intended. So I'm on there pretty secure, I think. Okay. That's kind of flattened out. Now, this one's going to have sloping sides on it, obviously, as we turn, but it's just the way the bowl is going to turn out. They're going to have to hog out a lot of wood here. And I can't take out big chunks because I don't know when I'm going to hit that screw. Ah, there it is. A little shiny sucker right there. Okay, let me go on the inside of that. I'll mark this area with my pencil so we don't hit that. Okay, right there. Okay, we'll work our way around that. So I'll come to this side of it. Okay. So what's hitting when you hear that thumping? It's because it's hitting there, and then here, and it's thumping, and that's something. Once we get this screw out of here, which is right there, right there. So there. That is really hard wood. This is really hard wood. Feel like I've lost my edge there. And okay. Yeah, it's right in there. And I think I can get a little closer. Oh, I can still get closer. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to sharpen this. That's all I can do. It's just not getting in there. I probably might have to change to a different size to get into that smaller spot. But what you have to deal with when you have a screw that breaks. This has not been my day so far. We'll see. Get this sharpened up. Yeah, I think that does it. I think that does it. What questions here? Let's see. Hey, Juan, Susan, Maho, Leopoldo, Zusan, Alvin. So I'm turning a piece of I believe this is sycamore or elm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's elm or sycamore. Well, let's say elm for now. But I got a screw caught right there. You can see a little glint of it when I was taking it out. So I'm trying to get down here so I can get around, get in there, and get that screw out. And then once I can get that screw out, we can move on with the project. So I will take some implements of destruction here and see if I can't pry that out of there so that we can move on. Believe it or not, just a good old screwdriver sometimes will work. But I don't want to ruin the hold that I have here. So I will remove it so I don't ruin the miter that I have in the bottom of this, a recessed miter. And you can see the screw right there. Bear with me. I'm just going to remove a little bit of wood on either side of that and see if I can't get down in there. And I could use a chisel for this, but I really don't want to ruin a chisel blade for a little stainless steel screw. Instead, I will try and use brute force and maybe a few appropriate words and cuss that thing out of there as best I can. But I think we're getting close to where I can get to it. There we go. There we are. If we can get it moving back and forth a little bit. Now, that doesn't always mean it's going to cooperate. It just means that we tried. That's all it means, quite honestly. But you got to expose the screw. And I figure the best way to do this is to turn down to it and then go after it. So there. Moving a little bit, that's good news. If I can expose a little bit more, I might be able to get in there and get it to screw out. We'll see. Try to expose it. If you're having fun watching me work on this, or just getting a laugh out of it. Feel free to hit the like button. Those likes really do add up, and they are helpful to the channel. Okay, I got in there. That's good. I don't know if I can make it turn. No, probably not yet. Yeah, you have to go a little bit deeper. But we can do that. We can do that. This is nice hard wood. That's for darn sure. It's not going anywhere. And no, these are not my fancy screwdrivers or anything. These are just screwdrivers I use for, well, basically things like this. Taking off paint and stain cans and such. They're not made, as you can see, it's bent. I don't use it for screwing anything in. And honestly, how many people use flat screw heads anymore? Very few. Most everything is a Phillips or a square-headed or something like that, or a star. There's a lot of different kinds of screws now out on the market. I got that moving a little bit. So I think maybe I need to get a little more of this wood out of the way so I can get that plier to go all the way around. So let's take this out here. That side. The screwdriver does work as a pretty good little chisel when you need it to. There we go. I can get in there a little bit better. Maybe I can take that out. Come on. You can come out. Oh, boy, it's fighting me, but it's starting to come out. Let's give it another whack or two. Make sure we're not whacking me in the process. Fortunately, all this will be dug out eventually anyway when we're turning, if we ever get back to turning. Boy, look at that. You'd think he would give up the ghost and come out. Oh. There we go. Yay! Do I cheers come up from the crowd? Right? We got that out of there. I knew we could do it. Yeah. There. Okay, what do you think, guys? Not when you're live. Yeah, well, no, this is just one piece of wood. It's not multiple pieces of wood. This is just one piece. The other piece that I was doing was glued on. It was a single piece also. But, sometimes you got to do what you got to do when you're alive and just go with it, right? So we all survived. Now, can I take this off lightly? I want to grab it. Here we are. It's kind of the problem you're doing on live sometimes. You got to be real about it. You can't edit it. And you don't want to stop the live entirely. And people like a good car crash. So, people stay tuned to watch somebody screw up, right? Looks like we got like a lot of people in here right now. Keep hitting that like button. I'd appreciate it. We got a lot of people watching. Like I said, a lot of people like to see a train crash, a plane crash, or car crash. This has the potential to be all three. And now, Jay, I'm going to do something just for you. Actually, I'm going to do two things for you. One, here's my alternately done bowl gouge after a conversation we were having the other day about bowl gouges. Now, this would be a good candidate. This would be a good candidate for using a drill bit or a Forstner bit and going in and drilling out part of this and then going back, because this is really hard. This outside part is soft, like almost like pine, but this inside part is hard, like really hard oak. I mean, look, I can hit this and it doesn't even make a mark. So we go from this nice stuff out here. And then you see it hit that dark stuff. Look what happens. It starts to lag in just a little bit. And that heartwood is just a lot harder. It doesn't cut the same. There we go. And I don't want to do that because anything that grabs could really affect my mortise pin in here. I want to make sure that I'm really in here good too, because something feels like it's wobbling just a little bit. It's in nice and tight. And here on this end, there's a little bit of wobble here, but it's hard to say because you got that that concave piece on each side. See if I can spin this up just a little bit more here and make it a little bit easier. It doesn't get easier to turn until you get past that lip. That lip is way down here. So what's going to happen is we're going to keep going down in. We're starting to cut into the lip here. And until we get down here past this, it's going to keep going bang, 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 bang. And then what we're going to have to do is come back up here and clean up this part up here. See, I can do it now a little bit. But we're going to end up with a sloped outer edge. Sloping into the bowl. See, like that. So now you can kind of see the angle it's going to be at. And we'll slowly work our way down into the bowl. And kind of what's defining this now is, as it's turning, is the white versus the dark. And when I start getting to all dark, it's not quite perfect. You see, I've got a crack here I've got to deal with too. That comes from this side here, and kind of see on this side too. This crack goes all the way across, so we're going to have to get down below this crack before too much longer. And once we get below the crack, yeah, see, I'm starting to get near the bottom of that. Okay, so as I can keep defining this out just a little bit while I'm going down in there, I can probably pick the speed up just a little bit more. Let's see if I got past that. Mostly past the crack. Not quite past it all, but getting past it. Okay, bring in a little bit closer. There we go. All right, so we got a lot of you in here. Please hit that like button, and if you can, subscribe. We got, looks like we got over 200 likes so far. That's really great. 250? So what do you think, LJ? Did I do a good job with that? I don't know if you're still on here. Hey, Carmel and Marcos and Alta and Bob. Hi, Bob. Papusas, Serges, Luis. ¿Cómo está? Hope you're all bien. Okay, still got a little bit of edge on there. Let's see. I don't know if Robert G is in there anywhere. If he's not, everybody should wake him up. Robert G, if you're in there. Okay. I'll be able to come out just a little bit more, I think. I've already got the sharp edge here. I got a little bit here. I can come out a little bit more and take down a little of that, but I got to be really careful how I do it. Okay. So we're coming along. I got past that crack. There'll be others when I get down in here, but at least I got past that crack. So now I think I'm just going to keep the shape as much as I can. And we're just going to go in. Now that cut was so nice it actually created almost a shine to the wood when I was doing this. But I think I'm going to take this scraper and just ease that off just a little bit if I can. see how that works. Yeah, pretty good. I still got a little bit of a gouge right there. Maybe a different scraper here will do that a little better. Yeah, that's a big brake scraper. Don't want to use that. Here we go. I want to make that a more pronounced drop. Using a scraper here. See, now it goes down in a little bit more. Okay. Okay, get a little more color in there. Please keep commenting, like, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. If you enjoy what you're seeing, or double tap the screen. Everyone know that you're here. And would appreciate it if you write in the comment section. Kind of let us know who you are and where you're from. Kind of like to know where y'all are from. Where's everybody from? Hey, Michael. Hey, LJ. So, LJ, what do you think? I'm using that. I'm using that other type of grind. Yeah, Mike. For a minute, I had about 1,000 in here. I think they were waiting for the crash, but I had about 1,000 people in here at one point. What the wood? I'm not 100% certain. I kind of think it's elm. It's really hard, and I did have some elm. It was not marked. It was in my box of wood, or my shelves of wood. And I thought, oh, this looks interesting today. It's been sitting there for probably a year or so. Unfortunately, I do not remember, and I may not have known at the beginning what it was, because it probably was a tree that was already fallen, like a neighbor cut it down or something, and I didn't get to see what the tree looked like beforehand. So I'm going to go with elm. It's pretty common around here. And I'll show you in a minute what I was turning earlier when I first came on, because this is really the reason I came on in the first place, was for this other piece that I now have to kind of stop and reset. I can't really get too thin on here. I can get thinner in here, of course. What I'm worried about is dropping off the edges here when I go thin. So I could do a little kind of go back underneath kind of thing, and I probably will do some of that. But considering this is not held on by much, I'm kind of playing it safe, if you know what I mean. At least until I get to the bottom here. So let me show you what I was turning earlier, in case you guys missed it. I came into some cork oak, and this was a piece of it. And I had it glued on the back onto a glue plate, and unfortunately the glue plate gave loose, so I could not continue the turning for now. I'm going to have to re-glue and let it set, and then I'll go back to it. It's really wet wood, and I think what happened was the wood just wouldn't really upset the glue very well because there's no residual glue on here. But I got the turnings of a bowl out of it where I can keep the cork edge on here. So I'm going to keep working on it. I'll get it glued back up, and I'll continue to turn it. And I really like this ray pattern that comes out from the center, from the pith. That's the pith right there. And if I treat this right, it won't crack. If I treat it right, that's a big if, but that's the plan. So that's where we started off today, Michael, and others, if you hadn't seen that. Okay. I think it's about time to sharpen this up too. It's already eaten through 2 gouges just on the inside here. Yep, I'm not getting anything out of that. So let me get this hooked up, and I'll be right back to you guys. See my trusty setup. Pretty soon here. You poured your first pen blanks today. Cool. Make sure they're set up good and not rubbery. LJ, you're still at work, huh? Well, from what I could see, you got a lot of work to do there. You must be staying kind of late tonight. Because it's what, 3 o'clock on the West Coast. In fact, I'm hoping Ryan's going to be off pretty soon. I think Ryan's going to do a live tonight. I don't want to stay on when he comes on. I also wasn't sure if Ryan was going to come by and pick up some of this wood. So I offered him some of that cork oak that I showed outside earlier in the broadcast. So I don't know if he's going to come by or maybe come by tomorrow. There we go. Imagine that. Sharp blade works better. All right, now time to get gutsy. You can tell I'm going through the sidewall there. And that's right where I get past it. I think I'm into another crack now. If I was to guess, I'm probably in another crack. No, a little bit right there. Yeah, I can just tell. I've got a crack running up here, and I can tell there's a little crack there. There was a lot of stress cracks on the outside of this, so I'm not too surprised on the inside. This might just end up having to be kind of a thick turn, simply because I can't get out there into the cracks too much. But we'll see what I can do. Yeah, see, I'm getting with a small bouquet bowl is what I'm ending up with here. But this was mostly an experiment to begin with, and I didn't know what the wood was, so no harm, no foul, and this will still sell. And we can always cut this down some more. And the more we make this into a deep dive, the more it looks thinner than it actually is. See? Very carefully. Okay. Now, see, now it's making more of a deep dive in, so it doesn't look like it's quite such a dramatic move. Take this out. I might need to get a new. Might need to get a new ridge on this. Yeah, it's down on the bottom, but it's on this part, but it's not on the other. Yeah, I don't know if I can roll that up right now or not. We'll give it a try. I don't know if I raised any or not. It doesn't feel like much. Let's see. It might be past raising. I've done it like 3 or 4 times at this point. May not be anything I can roll up now much, but I'll give it a shot. Yeah, it's gonna have to get back on the grinder with that one, I think. Okay, that's okay. We've got backup right here. See how that's looking. See, now it's sloping down there better. It gives it a little better shape. I don't want to chip this off too much in the process. So, okay, let's see if we can get the rest of this bottom done so we can get out of here. Boy, it's really, really hard wood in there. Okay. That crack's getting pretty good, so I got to be really careful with that. Also getting a little hot in there. We are approximately here. We've already got about another 3/4 of an inch or so to go. Cleaned out there a little bit. I'll fill this up just a little here. Get that nice curve going. Okay. I don't know why that's giving such a run now. I can cut it out that way, but I can't go the other way. Here. Put up there, yeah. Okay. Skipping. I'm not sure where the skipping is coming from. Get a little bit in there, a little bit better with my breast. What do you think? What do you guys think? Whoa, there's my finger in there. Okay. Well, you guys wanted to see a accident. You saw one. There went part of my fingernail. Took part of my fingernail off right there. I got a little anxious. Okay. I had to be careful about this because this is the finger that I cut off with the bandsaw. So it's not exactly attached the same as the others. They had to reattach the finger. So gotta be a little bit more careful with that finger. I'm getting down in there. Do a little bit more. Okay. Good. The only crack that's still showing is this one here. And I'll deal with that before I put the finish on, but we're getting down there now. Yeah, we're getting down there now. Just a little bit more. Don't want to have a peekaboo on the other side. Okay, let me see if I can a smaller scraper down in here. Down in here. This is so hard that it's actually shining in the bottom right now. I don't know if you can see that, but it's shining down in there. You can see the light reflection. Kind of bring you in closer. Let you see that. See that? It's shining right in here. That's how hard the wood is and how it's shining up. Looks like we got 300 likes. Thank you very much, guys. I do appreciate that. And some of you stuck to the end. I appreciate that too. We are getting near the end. So let me just kind of polish this up just a bit. And it's not going to take a whole lot of sanding on the inside. And I even sacrificed a fingernail for you guys, so okay. So we are right about to here. And we got maybe just a baby bit more I can get out of there. Okay, there we go. I think that's where we'll stop the turning part and start getting the cleaning up part. This is good for a bouquet, dry flower bouquet, or something like that. This would be really nice for that. Okay. I think I got that in. So yeah, see, we're starting to get that crack that runs here all the way down into there. So I don't want to press that too much further. Let me get my extension out here if I can. Yep. I'm gonna have to go straight in, I think, on this one to get to the bottom. And I won't be using the right angle one here. I'll be going straight in. I should turn this on. Okay, good. That's gonna work. Now we go to the other one. Yep, that's looking nice. Okay. And then finally, I'll do the 240. Okay, good. All right, now we're going to vacuum this up so that it's a little bit less dusty. Vacuum the area a little bit too. Okay. A little bit cleaned out so when we get on the finish. You know, part of the thing about wood turning is all the cleanup afterwards. Sometimes that's the most rewarding part because you kind of get to see, you know, you had everything clean, you made wool, clean everything up again, it's all ready for the next turning. It's kind of, you know, doesn't help when I throw things on the floor, but kind of a good feeling to get everything all cleaned up and ready for next time. And I'm not going to get it all done right now because I know you guys want to see what this looks like when I put the finish on it. I just want to get a little stuff out of the way. Quite a bit of debris in that turning. Okay, we'll turn this off. And we'll vacuum the floor later. I just wanted to get this okay. So it doesn't break. Why do you leave it thick? So it doesn't break. Yes, that's exactly right. I'll explain here, if I can, just a little bit. The reason I left it thick was, well, twofold. One, there's a lot of stress cracks. I don't know if you can see it on the outside of this bowl right here, radiating out from the center. And you see this one right here? Even as we speak, it is getting whiter. Even just since I turned it, it's pulling away, and it's cracked on this side. So I'm going to get some glue in there first. So I will get a little bit of glue in there just to kind of get it to stabilize a bit. Just want to stabilize it, just to keep it. It's on both sides, by the way. So we're trying to stabilize that crack on both sides so we don't end up with a bigger problem. And I will spray a little activator on there for the glue. That's step one. And step two, we'll be going back in and sanding that out just a little bit. Because I don't want to leave those stain marks in there. So we'll get that. And by the way, you'll notice it mostly does go away. Not entirely, because it does soak down into the wood. There's only so much you can do with that. But once I put the finish on, it should not be as prominent either. And because I did angle this, it doesn't have quite that same battery dead. It doesn't have quite that same look. That it doesn't look like it's going to be as thick as you think it is. And like I said, you're going to put artificial flowers or something like that in here. It's more like a flower bowl than like for an artificial flowers or some kind of decoration like that than it is for like a practical bowl, like for candy or nuts or holding your pens or something. It's not that kind of a bowl, which is a little bit different. Also, if I'd have gone in thinner, this would have also come down, which would have made you more of a sloped bowl here. It would have scooped it out a lot more because every time I come in here, this gets thinner and this drops down more because of the way the wood is shaped. You see here. So if I came in here, that would start to drop off also. So I had to be careful of both sides of that. I could go a little deeper. You're absolutely right. When it comes around, every time it comes around, it hits. I just didn't want to fight those cracks. I've turned enough bowls to know sometimes you don't want to overextend it. And that's what it is in this case. You don't want to overextend it. You don't want to extend your welcome past past what the wood's going to allow you to do. So that's kind of where we're at on that. But good question. Good question. If you haven't already hit the like button, please hit the like button. We got a lot of likes today. Okay. So get that sucked out of there. And I'm going to put a little finish on there and we can take a look and see just what it looks like. Now, you may not see the final showdown on this when I'm all done with it. That's okay with you, LJ? Okay. Depleted attention. I like that. Okay, and you see that's even cracking again and some more. So I'll probably end up putting some wood glue in there and some other things. But for right now, we'll hit it with a little bit of my favorite, tongue oil. And we'll see just what that looks like when you put the tongue oil on there. What do you think? Is that looking a little better? I can get that oil down into that crack. That might help it a little bit too. Although it doesn't help when I go to glue it, but tongue oil also strengthens the wood. If I can get it down into those cracks, it will dry and strengthen the wood inside. It penetrates very well. A little bit on there, a little bit on here. I'll probably do the outside again too, but just so you can kind of see what it looks like here. There you go. So that's what our inside's going to look like. And I'll do the outside here too. Just it needs another coat anyway, so we'll do that too. This is 100% tongue oil. No additive. Well, I add an additive to it. I add a little bit of linseed, which is a citrus oil extract to it. Smells nice, and it also helps with the smoothing out of the oil just a little bit, and helps it go a little bit longer too. But the trick I actually learned originally from an Australian turner, and I have found that I really like it. Although I'm not afraid to use waxes and all sorts of like Bumbleshoots and some others that are out there, or Tried and True, or Yorkshire, or any of the other friction polishes. I know there's a bunch of them, or milers, or even some feed and wax, which I may use on this one later. But there you go. This is what it looks like, and I'll although I can't really handle it very much at the moment, it's going to take a few minutes to dry. There's our bowl. You can kind of see it, and I'll spin it around a little bit for you. See, it's got a beautiful wood on the inside and outside here. And as that tung oil dries, you'll see dry spots and wet spots, and we'll wipe it out, and I'll have to put a little bit more where the wet spot, where it's dry still. But that's kind of how we finish it. And for now, I think I'm going to call it a day, because I know there's some other guys I think that want to come on and do their lives. I don't know if Ryan's doing one today, but if you have a chance, check out 77 Rockets. Ryan has been doing quite a few lives lately, although I know it's Friday and he's been at work all day, so I don't know if he's up to doing one right now. But check out 77 Rockets. On Sunday we have the Whacking Shack with Fun Day Spun Day, and he's always up to something. We never know what he's going to turn. But so the Whacking Shack, and they're all in my description. LJ, who's been here for most of this today, LJ has a great site, and you can check out his site too. I do appreciate you guys being here today. Michael also. Yeah, LJ Woodworks. Yeah, you blown up your fair share trying to go too thin. Probably the angle we were at. Yeah, probably so. It usually is. We get a little over aggressive. Johnny's Lathe Crafts, he does some great work, and please give him some attention too. Depleted Attention, that's the name of your channel? Great. Well, I'll try and get over there and take a peek and see what you got. Okay? You're certainly welcome into the group anytime. It says you're 11? Great. Well, you're never too young to start, right? So I'll go take a look at your site when I get in the house and see what you're doing. Okay? But thanks for coming in today, and for everybody else, I really appreciate y'all being here, and I hope that we can do this again real soon. I do a live every Thursday. Every Thursday is my normal live day, and usually then I try and pick another day, like a Friday or Saturday or Sunday or something. This week I did a Tuesday, and usually when I come back into the next one, I usually show you what the final results were of the one that I did before. So you'll probably see this in the next live. I'll probably have this one completed, and you'll be able to take a look at it and go, "Oh, that's cool." So as I'm looking at it, I could maybe go further, and that's why I like using that mitered, because I can just put this back on the chuck at any time and go back and go deeper if I want to. This is not a final finish. This tung oil, it's just feeding the wood. So I could, but I do see a crack down here in the bottom too. So I don't think I want to go into that crack too much if I don't have to, because that could really become a problem. But I really like the colors inside there. I don't know if you can see them all, but I really do like those colors. It's kind of anything from a caramel to a dark brown. Nice piece of wood. Anyway, well, thank you all for being here, and we will talk to you real soon. We'll get some of that cork oak going and see what kind of mess we can make with that. Okay? Thank you all. Bye.